Hey guys, welcome to another Find the CR Computer Room FT podcast YouTube video. Yes, we're having another exciting, intense discussion about everyone's favorite topic, which is, of course, Sonic T. Hedgehog, the greatest character ever created. This is your old friend David T. Lurker, haha, and I'm joined by two of the greatest FTCRs that have ever CR'd. Of course, I'm talking about Steven and Stefan, smooth in the game. How's it going, you two?
Smooth in the game. Hi, I'm good. I'm smooth in the game.
And I'm Chris.
Oh, that's right, Chris. You are new Chris. You inherited the role. Old Chris he's retired. But he'll.
Yeah, man, it's really cool, man.
He'll unretire the next video, I'm sure.
Stefan, was that your Chris impression?
Yeah, it's my Chris impression. Very laid back, very chill.
There you go. It's the embodiment of finding all computers.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so the question is, are we going to spend 1 hour talking about a 5-second video clip?
I hope so.
Well,
that's right. We're a fancy discussion because just today there was a little video uploaded. It was on Twitter. It was on YouTube. It was familiar but new. I heard there's a movie coming.
All right, what's up?
What's up? Right.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2. It's officially just Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And it's coming April 2022. Hopefully. Depending on what I hopefully 2022 is when everything is better and fine. So yeah.
Right. What I find the most surprising about that date is that it's like a full date. It's like April 8th, 2022, and it's like not even just 2022 or spring 2022. Like you have like an April 8th like.
Well, to be fair, that April 8th date was announced like back last year, like July of last year. So it's like, they've had that. And most big franchise sequels always like put that exact date in years and years in advance because it's like, it's all for shareholders and stuff. It's like they get that date down. It's like, you can look at like all like all the superhero movies, big blockbusters. Like you look at movies that are coming out in 2022. There are like some that like movies that are coming out in 2023 that have official release days. So it's like a thing of like, oh, we have a feeling it's going to be on this time. We put it in. It's more so just the fact that they released that little teaser. They have the little Emerald Hill thing. They have like the logo with the tails on it. So it's just to remind you, hey, it's coming. It's officially official now, rather than just as a press release.
Oh.
Yeah. So the big thing is now it's just okay. Sonic, the first Sonic movie came out. It ended up doing a lot better than most people said. Like Sonic and Eggman are, for the most part, people are like, oh, Sonic and Eggman are good. Everything else is like of fairly mixed quality. Some people don't mind it, some people don't like it, but for the most part, those two people like. And so it's like, okay, so we got those pieces. You got your post-credit scene with Tails. So it's like, yeah, Tails is going to be in it. So it's like, now we have the biggest question is honestly because we don't even have any plot details. It's basically, all right, what is Tails' purpose in the plot going to be? And how much of the movie is going to be Earth versus other worlds? Because like we see Tails jump in, he comes from the portal, he's like, I gotta go find Sonic. So it's like, is he going to take him somewhere? Is he looking for something? And it's like, I think that's like the only real concrete information that we can like really speculate, because pretty much everything else is just fan theories.
But is Knuckles in this or not?
Apparently so. Yes, that's
okay.
That seems to be. I don't know if it was confirmed, but it seems to be one of those rumors that everyone accepts. It's been reported in a couple places where it's like, yeah, we've heard from sources Knuckles is going to be there. I mean, just the other day there was a tweet saying that Jason Momoa is being eyed.
No.
Yep. Yeah.
I could see like, well, eyed doesn't mean it's gonna happen. It's like, oh, just some of the studio execs are like, oh, we want him to do it. So it's like, it's nothing clarified. Yeah, and even then, that rumor didn't really have a source, so it's like, take it with a grain of salt. I do think, the fact that the echidnas were in that first movie and they had even if they were minor, they had kind of an important presence in it. It feels very likely that if there was a second movie, that the echidnas would be in it as well, and by nature, Knuckles would probably squeeze in there in some way.
Right, because if we're doing a second movie and the first one just, we see Sonic's world for like a little brief moment, like it would make sense for us to finally get to go see that world in the second film. And if we go back, then we have to see the people who made us leave in the first place, right?
That's right.
So we'd have to see the echidnas.
That's right. They're all hanging out, and of course that is a good point for some tension, because I'm sure young Sonic, 5-year-old Sonic, remembers they were echidnas, so you would assume he would immediately distrust Knuckles just based on that fact, because
He murdered my mom!
yeah, that'll make you a little unhappy with someone if they murder your parental figure, because she's not his real mom, his adopted mom. They're not genetically related, I don't think.
It doesn't matter. Moms are moms. Blood doesn't matter. It's all what's in the heart that matters, David.
That is true.
Blood's in the heart, Stefan.
That's right.
I'm expecting we're probably going to get something of, Sonic's going to have a struggle of, does he, in the end, does he want to stay with his new Earth family, or does he want to like go somewhere else, or does Tails end up staying with his Earth family? And it's like, I have a feeling that's nobody's talking about it, but I feel like that's going to end up being like a huge contention with the story.
He gets the bedroom in the attic above the attic.
But will this mean that Knuckles is no longer the last of his kind?
Yeah, I have a feeling that's probably the case. Unless there's some like weird thing of like, Knuckles was like, he's in like another different planet just by himself, and like the echidnas, like either they abandoned him or just something happened. But no, I feel like they're probably gonna just go with, Knuckles isn't the last of his kind. He's with these other echidnas.
I mean, they could pull a Penders. Remember, at the end of the first movie, spoilers, Eggman is in a mushroom world. Everyone, of course, went, oh man, Mushroom Hill. That's a place full of mushrooms. Of course, it doesn't look like the same thing. And if Knuckles is like, oh hey, Mr. Human Person, what's up? I'm alone on a planet full of mushrooms, and he can go, haha, I will do a trick. And then later, Knuckles will discover that he is not the last of his kind, but at the beginning he may think he is. Just like how Knuckles in Pender's Run, he watched his father walk into a wall of fire and assumed he killed himself in front of him. But he didn't. He just went to another dimension.
I thought you were going to say they pull up Penders and all the echidnas die off screen, and Knuckles is now the last of his kind.
Oh, no, Ian's the one who killed him off camera.
Well, Ian did that because of Penders, so I consider that a Penders fault.
No, Paramount pulls a Penders in the fact that they think that all the echidna characters that they created, they get to own.
Oh, no. Right. Well, I mean, the one echidna, I believe Tyson had mentioned that they were supposed to be Pachacamic, at least to some degree, like the markings.
He's confirmed that that one lead one is in fact Pachacamic.
Right. So if Pachacamic is in the first movie, and in normal Sonic storytelling, he's been dead for 3,000 years, it's possible that echidna tribe has been somewhat wiped out, or has gone missing, or has disappeared, and Knuckles is alone. Like, that could be an element. We could get weird and say, does time travel in the same way? Well,
remember, this is also a world where Sonic grew up most of his life alone on Earth, and hasn't met Tails yet, and all that stuff. So it's like following like regular Sonic rule. Like, there's no point in following regular Sonic rules. Like, because this happened in Sonic Adventure, the movie has to follow it. No, I feel like they're just gonna go the easy route and say, now all the Echidna tribe is like they're around and they're doing stuff. I feel like it's much easier than being like, well, the games did this, so now we have to do this.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's a case where they must follow the games 1-to-1. It's just that when you boil down Knuckles as a character, one of his defining traits is that he is alone. And I know Sonic did it, and he was like, I went through things and now I'm happy. You can have the contrast where Knuckles is alone and he's very unhappy, and what's the word I'm looking for? Like he's bitter. He's angry. He could be the villain, quote unquote, not the villain forever, but, like in Sonic 3, where he is pit against Sonic. So I could see them doing that, because then it's the opposite of what Sonic went through, where he found a family and happiness and etc.
Yeah, especially in the sense that Knuckles, like, every single time we've revived Knuckles in some capacity, he's always been the naive one who gets fooled by Robotnik, sometimes twice in the same canon. So I can definitely see that being a part of the story this time around.
The one thing I've seen, like, a lot of people talk about, and there's, like, obviously that really great art piece that makes me do want to see it, is that Eggman creates Metal Sonic. And, like, right now there isn't, like, there isn't a lot of, like, well, I guess you could say evidence to support it. It'd be like, oh, Metal Sonic is definitely going to be in the movie, but it's like, oh, actually, it's mostly just because people, like, drew, like, of like, what would, like, Jim Carrey Robotnik, like, a Metal Sonic in, like, his, like, his white silver design would look like. And it's like, oh, that actually looks really cool, and it makes me kind of want to see, like, oh, like, see that in live action, just like him make a Metal Sonic, use that quill to power it. It's like, oh, that would be really cool to see.
I think Metal Sonic will be in this just because it just feels like the most obvious thing. And I think the whole reason why other people think that he's going to be in this is just because it feels like the most obvious thing to do. Like, he was unable to capture Sonic, so well, he would make his own, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
And he's got the quill. Yeah, and he's got the quill, so it's like, what else is he going to use the quill for?
Right. I mean, because if you go down the list of what are the, the most recognizable characters in Sonic, what are we going to throw in the sequel? Tails, Knuckles, Metal Sonic, that's high on the list. Amy, Shadow, also pretty high on the list, but I'm not expecting them to pop up.
No.
No, Amy and Shadow aren't.
No.
Maybe, maybe. I don't even think Shadow would be, like, maybe Shadow might be in 3, just because it's like, it's that whole Venom thing of, like, oh, like, the black edgy character. It's like, oh, even though it wouldn't really make sense to throw him in, it's like, put him in some way because he's popular.
No, I see,
like,
I see 0% chance of Shadow being in there.
Well, not number 2, definitely, no.
Number 2, no. I think there is a small chance of possibility that he could appear in like. I think just because of his popularity, and they're like, we want to sneak in edgy Sonic somehow, but I don't think it's like, I think it's like a 10% rather than like, oh, he's definitely going to show up. Yeah, I think there's a small chance that they could want to have Shadow in it, even if, again, it doesn't make any sense.
I wouldn't even put it at a 1%, Stefan, because Shadow has like a really big backstory. And like, to put him in the film would mean to ignore all of that.
Right.
Yeah. And are you saying that there isn't a possibility that they would want to ignore it? Come on, even you can admit that. Oh, there's a very clear possibility that in the back of your mind, they're like, oh, we want to put Shadow and just not do any of his backstory, just to have Shadow in it. It's there is a small possibility that they could do that.
Stefan, you're right. It is Hollywood, and Hollywood is very dumb. So it's very, you know what? Okay, I'll bump up the chances of Shadow, but only to 2% instead of 1.
Yeah, it's like the same thing with Knuckles. Like, I don't think they're gonna follow Knuckles' arc in the games exactly, especially because Sonic is. The difference with Sonic is that Sonic's had so many different iterations that they can kind of get away with it. I mean, even Tails is like they're kind of like jumping and like kind of. I mean,
Knuckles doesn't really have much of a backstory though. He's always just been alone, and that's it.
Oh yeah, I mean, the only backstory we really get is the backstory of his people in Adventure.
Yeah,
and he's not around 3,000 years ago. I mean, I don't think he's that old. I mean, the owl character seems to be a character. I think they're supposed to be someone who can live a very long time. Why is her name a Longclaw? That's her. Like, her species. It was like, oh, we can live for a very long time, but I don't think they're gonna do that for Knuckles. Yeah, I mean,
and that's why I think it makes more sense to ignore Knuckles' backstory, because he doesn't even really have one, to be honest.
Right. The only thing is that he's the last of his kind. That is the starting point, and that's been consistent throughout all the games. I mean, I guess it depends what you classify last of his kind. Does that mean he's the last Echidna, or just the last of his line, the last of his tribe?
Yeah, the last of the tribe.
Right, because it feels like in the games, it's usually the last Echidna whatsoever, But then you have, I know Sonic Chronicles says there's other echidnas running around, which Sega's ignored since it came out. But it doesn't have to mean there are no other echidnas. It could be a tribe, especially in the context of the movie. Like, there might be an opening scene where, there could be an opening that shows the other perspective of the opening of the first one, where Knuckles is with his tribe and they're going after Sonic, and you see what happens after he runs through the ring, and like Longclaw fights the echidnas and he watches her, kill his family, and Knuckles is now distraught in a similar way to Sonic, but it's like that could be a point, because I have this feeling that Longclaw will be in the second movie. I don't think she's really dead. You don't see her die, you don't see a body. And if you don't see a body, that means they can come back.
That is true.
So I have this feeling, because who else is going to send Tails off to find Sonic? The only person who would know is Longclaw.
Oh, yeah.
So it makes sense that, she fought the echidnas off, she survived, years down the line, she meets up with Tails and is like, can you find my adoptive son? Can you find Sonic? And Tails has been hopping from universe to universe, following the trail, possibly. And meanwhile, Knuckles has been growing up alone and angry and bitter. And then you have your source for conflict, especially if Knuckles,
Robotnik finds him.
Meets up with Robotnik, and so you cause conflict there, and there's interaction and there's anger, and then in the third act, that's when you have Metal Sonic do a fight if you want.
Maybe Knuckles goes looking for Sonic at the same time Tails does, but Knuckles goes to the Mushroom Planet and sees the Metal Sonic that Robotnik built and goes, "Oh, there he is." I'm just kidding. That's so dumb. It's so stupid. Right. But it's dumb enough to be Hollywood.
Right. And then Robotnik can be like, "Oh, I made this robot to fight my greatest enemy." And Knuckles is like, "Sonic's your greatest enemy? He's mine too."
Mine too.
Right. See, this is the pitch meeting that happened.
Except Sonic didn't even kill it. He should be mad at the owl. Sonic did nothing.
Yeah, but the only reason the owl killed his family is because of Sonic.
Yeah, they were.
So he's going to blame Sonic.
They were after Sonic, and that's why Longclaw was protecting him.
Yeah.
I think it was also because like we all knew that like that whole Longclaw scene was like a very last minute like addition scene. So it's like when with the whole we didn't see a body, it's like we just thought of it's because they rushed that scene and didn't have time to show the body. Retroactively, there is a deleted scene, which is that Longclaw goes to Earth with Sonic for several, and then like dies like on her own.
Right. So they definitely changed that story. If she was supposed to be on Earth and die on Earth, and they remove that, then everything that's supposed to be Longclaw is now up in the air. And I think that's probably for the better, because Longclaw is the connection to Sonic's world, and we want to get back to Sonic's world in the sequel. If we once again stay on Earth, it's going to feel like a waste. It works in the first movie because we're focusing on the character of Sonic and then his subsequent relationship with Tom and then Eggman. And so we set things up. They want it to be a simple, simplified, down to earth, but Sonic is still Sonic and he does Sonic things. If you continue to do that in a sequel, you're going to lose people. You have that huge tease in the first, which is sequel bait. And Tails showing up, that's sequel bait. You want to go back. You want to go back to South Island and Green Hill Zone and see other locations that seem familiar from the games.
David, that's what we want, but yes. Stefan, how often is a sequel budget? How often sequel budgets, are they more or less than the original film?
It usually depends on like what the movie is. I have a feeling with this movie, like since we don't know what the budget is yet, but it's probably going to be either the same or slightly more. And the first movie, well, I mean, it was the Murphy movie. The original budget was about 80-ish million, and then plus all of the additions, plus all of the the re-edits and stuff. That the budget is closer to around 95 million. So I can assume about approximately 100 million is probably what the second movie is going to end up being.
Right, and I would also assume
I will also because I think this is another Paramount movie based on a famous property that I think might be a big like example of like what they're going to follow is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles live action movies, because the first one, which of course had like followed, like it was very safe. It was very like following, like the turtles were in a very like minor role, so to speak, focused more on the human characters and stuff like that. And then when you get to the second movie, and it's like, oh, the second movie, the turtles are front and center. They introduce Bebop and Rocksteady and Krang and the Technodrome. It is very fan service. Like they very much focused on like the fan service and like the people, like they threw in a whole bunch of stuff. So it's that kind of thing of like, oh, we did the thing that like the studio wants us to do. Now they give us more freedom. It still kind of falls into the traps of, oh, we got to do this, we got to do that, but it's like there is enough. So I know that second movie, I think, yeah, overall, like reception wise, that movie's still kind of like on the lower end, so to speak, overall. But I know most people, like, yeah, most people that liked TMNT, like they enjoyed Out of the Shadows for the most part. Although that movie also like didn't make money. The first movie made a lot of money. The second one didn't, which was
Stefan,
why. Yeah.
How much? What was the box office for Sonic?
A little over $300 million. It was a hit. Like they straight up said like, oh yeah, it was a hit. It made money.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's like, it wasn't like a ginormous mega hit, but it's like, especially considering that 1 month later, everything shut down. Like it did, and it's like, oh, it's one of the highest grossing films of the year. It's like, oh, the Paramount's happy with that.
Well, I would also assume that for the second go round, there's going to be more tie-in merchandise things going on, because one of the things that was very apparent is there wasn't a whole lot of Sonic movie things you could go out and buy, right?
Yeah.
Like finding any sort of stuffed toy was hard. There was like a Mad Libs book. There was the junior novelization.
Yeah, although that was also because of the the whole like, because all of the merchandise was made of the bad Sonic. So
right, but
like, fuck, we could.
But
now,
like the bad Sonic merchandise, even that, it didn't seem like there was a ton of it. It felt like a lot of people were nervous as to whether or not this movie would do well. Even when Sega would talk about it, like through the social media Sonic channels, they, sort of did the bare minimum until the movie came out and people liked it, and I mean, you're right where, yes, a lot of things that maybe what were in the pipeline had to be either thrown out or changed. But now that the first movie came out, it did well. Now you have over a year to prepare. You're going to get the action figures, you're going to get the stuffed toys, and you're going to get like all the little weird Sonic tie-ins where suddenly they're going to make a ton more money on that than they did the first time, and that's going to be more lucrative, which even if the movie still is like a $300-400 million bonanza, the merchandise is going to more than compensate for the fact that it's not $1 billion movie. And I think that would have them consider putting the budget higher than it was the first time around. It was clear they were obviously going to make the budget like exactly how high. It's like, that's why I feel like around $100 million, which is like, it's technically higher but not like too high. Right. It's like it's a good balance. And I think it's also like a case of like, I don't think like, I mean, like, it wasn't. I feel like obviously like shooting on Earth and doing stuff like that is obviously like to save money, and it's like, I mean, especially since they shot in Vancouver last year, but I mean, for the first movie, they're shooting in Vancouver right now again for that stuff, and that gets them like easy tax breaks. But they did say that they're also shooting in Hawaii. Ooh, Hawaii!
So I think like that's really. I feel like that feels like a case of like, oh, they're shooting in Hawaii because like one of the planets they visit to is going to be like for like the forests and stuff like that. I have a feeling like that's something, and I think because was it the girl who plays Tom's wife? Yeah, she was the one who mentioned that. Yeah, they were filming into. So it is maybe also a case of that Tom and her end up following Sonic and Tails around, so it's not just they don't just leave them behind and then they go off on their adventure through all of the worlds, and that they're following them. So it's like I think that's another possibility people aren't really thinking about. Yeah, because they both are confirmed to be coming back. So it's like,
right,
yeah, how much are they involved, and like, yeah, how much of it doesn't. I have a feeling it might end up being closer to about half and half. I think half of the movie might be taking place on Earth, and half of it will be in the other worlds, or like because I don't even think it might. I don't even think it's going to be just like not just Sonic's world. Like we're going to see like however Eggman ends up getting by. He's probably not just going to jump from the mushroom world just to Earth. He might end up bouncing around to other places and get other stuff.
Right. I guess another thing to consider is like I know it's getting easier to film things and make media even in a period where we're still technically, quarantine-ish, whatever, like things aren't being made in the same way. It might be easier to have more scenes that are in Sonic's world or strictly CG because if all you need to do is throw Tom and Maddie in front of a green screen, like that's safer to film than all these extensive outside, because even like they're filming the Batman and there's Robin Pattinson. He's like, everyone's getting tested for COVID. I've got tested for COVID. Oh no, I have COVID. We got to shut down this movie for a while. So and Sonic doesn't have to worry about getting tested because hedgehogs are immune to COVID-19, I believe. Right?
There is also the thing that like the first movie had a lot of money put into it in like pre-production and like planning and development and figuring out like what they wanted, like figuring out how to film it and all that stuff. So it's like they have like those like fake
from Sonics. Studio to studio, etc.
Yeah. So it's like, although so like now it's like, oh, we've got our Sonic.
Yeah.
We already have they already have their Tails too. So it's like, oh, we don't have to worry about designing Tails. They already did that. So it's like, oh, now there's like I know it was deleted, but a guy did confirm that Tyson Hesse is like back and involved in this as well. So it feels like that he's designing some other characters that are going to be in this.
Which makes sense. They brought him specifically to fix Sonic's design, and Paramount's not Sega. It seems like they would keep Tyson, as long as he's within their budget, and I can't imagine Tyson is demanding millions of dollars.
And he's very clearly in their budget.
Right. So it makes sense that he would be there, that he's designing characters. I mean, we don't know to what extent, beyond that, his involvement in the film, because when he was brought on, the movie had been essentially made. Everything was filmed. He wasn't working on story, but who knows? Maybe once he's sitting there, maybe he can throw in a couple of ideas, call Patrick Casey and say, I have an idea for a sequence involving Sonic, and Pat Casey going, yeah, let's throw that in there.
Yeah. Well, here's what Phil Mark, who is one of the people working on it, he tweeted this like a few months ago. I wrapped up work on Lower Deck Season 2. Excited to announce I've been working on Sonic the Hedgehog 2 story team with Jeff Fowler and Tyson Hesse at Blur Studio.
Oh, damn.
First live action feature in 2022. And then he deleted the tweet shortly afterwards.
Right.
But his Instagram post still remains. So it's like, yeah.
So the fact he throws Tyson into the story group then says like,
and the director,
right, and I mean, the director was someone who had worked on cinematics to Sonic games in the past, so like he's aware of Sonic's world. Tyson is certainly aware of Sonic's world, and I think after a success, it might be a little easier to put in more game universe elements in there, because they're like, it's established, people like it, and the fans will like these bits even more, because I'm sure they have focus groups that went, wow, they really loved the opening sequence. They really loved seeing Sonic's world and seeing the characters that he was interacting with, and people want more.
Wow, they hated the 10 minutes at the bar.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, I would hope there's more, especially since Eggman is stranded on another planet, and they're throwing in Knuckles and definitely whatever's going on with Tails. I mean, Tails and Sonic are going to have a different dynamic, no matter what, because the origin story of Sonic and Tails is now going to be different. In the games, it's very simple. Sonic lands on West Side Island. He's running around. Tails is sad because people make fun of him because he's got two tails, and he sees Sonic run by. He's like, wow, he's so cool. I want to be just like him. And starts following him around on the island. And he's also obsessed with planes. So when he sees the biplane in the tornado, he falls in love and is super excited to find out that Sonic is there, that it's his plane. They go through Sonic 2. They form a bond. You know, Tails and Sonic, they work together to defeat the Death Egg. They become friends for life. Tails is already looking for Sonic. He's already aware of Sonic. I don't think he's going to be going through the same search of like, I need to validate myself.
Maybe, but at least it's going to be a different dynamic, because at the end of the first Sonic film, like, there's absolutely no reason for us to think that Tails has ever met Sonic before.
Right.
Because Sonic came to Earth when he was a little child, which must have been before Tails was even born.
Right, so Sonic would only know of Sonic as a concept, basically.
You mean Tails would only know of Sonic as a concept?
Yes, did I say Sonic would only know of Sonic as a... Look, Sonic is going through a further existential crisis.
That's deep, bro.
I mean, there is the whole thing with, like, it seems like, yeah, with the echidnas, and just like, it's possible that maybe throughout the world, like, people know, like, this thing of like, oh, this mysterious fast hedgehog that possesses these, like, special chaos powers. So it's like this thing of like, oh, like maybe the idea of like Sonic is known throughout the universe, and it's like, oh, there's the Sonic thing, and it's like, oh, somebody, perhaps maybe Longclaw or somebody, like, says like, oh, here, go find Sonic, and like we need him for something or whatever.
Right.
And and that brings up a question that I had with like me and you, Steven, kind of like brought this up like earlier today, which is the idea of if there will ever be Chaos Emeralds at some point in the movies. And I said that I don't think so. There might be something like a Master Emerald, but I feel like the 7 Chaos Emeralds might not be in it, just because Sonic himself already is kind of like a Chaos Emerald. Eggman uses his quills just like he would like with the Chaos Emeralds. So I'm like, they already kind of had like, he kind of turned Super Sonic a little bit at the end of the movie. So that makes me feel like they're like, oh, we don't need the Chaos Emeralds because Sonic is already kind of like a living Chaos Emerald in this universe.
So the Sonic that we have in the film is the single strongest version of Sonic that we've seen throughout any of the media, in my opinion. So to make him super would be kind of overkill if you think about it, right?
You become a god.
Well, I guess it would depend. See, I think what they could do is introduce the concept of the Chaos Emerald. Perhaps vaguely allude to the fact that there's 7 of them. But not actually collect all 7 in the second movie.
Yes.
I think I said this when we had the discussion for the first film, that I really would, I wanted to see a trilogy, and I want the third movie to end with Perfect Chaos going crazy in San Francisco. I want to see him on the San Francisco Bridge going wild. And I think that would be the moment where you're like, we're capping off this series of movies where if he was to go super, it would only be there at the end. With like, because he has to fight something that's so extraordinary, so over the top, that even his own natural abilities, like, this is too much for me. And at that point, Chaos Emeralds are finally used, and he turns into Super Sonic and flies into Chaos, does a fight. I wouldn't want to see that in the second one at all, because we're not there yet.
And you know what? I mean, after something like, if after Godzilla versus Kong and that becomes like a huge hit, then maybe there'll be like, we need Sonic to fight a giant monster. What giant monster we got? Chaos? Yes, do that.
Well, I mean, Sonic Adventure is like probably the most cinematically accessible story for Sonic. Like, everything about it feels like, oh, that's the easiest one to turn into a movie. So it makes sense.
So would it be possible to do, like, when you make a film about collecting things in an hour and a half, would it make sense to collect 7 things? Like, what would we do?
Technically, that would basically just be Avengers Infinity War.
Right, and I mean, you are collecting things over the course of... Because over the course of multiple movies, it's like, we know that the one stone is here and the one infinity gem is there. And are they called stones or gems in the movie? I'm getting confused because one's one in the comics and one's one in the... Yeah, so the Infinity Stones.
Yeah, it was also it's also like like with the way not only were they all set up before, but it's like every stone does something different, and it's like, oh, there's like there's like an actual kind of like instance like with like, oh, like there's a reason why you want to keep this one out of the way, or there's like, oh, there's a reason, like it feels something when he gets a new one. But with the 7 Chaos Emeralds, like, oh, every chaos, unless they do something different, it's like, oh, every Chaos Emerald is just another power. It'd basically just be like SA1. They get Chaos Emeralds, they're stolen. They get new Chaos Emeralds, Emeralds, they're stolen because he's like, in the end, Eggman's gonna get all 7 of them and do something bad, and then so it's like it'd feel like it would just be either just SA1 again or Infinity War.
Well, I think it just depends on how they go about it, because if they introduce the idea of the Chaos Emeralds and there's only 1 or 2 in the first movie, then you could skip ahead, and by the third it's like, oh yeah, we've accounted for most of them, like maybe we know where 6 of them are, and then the final movie or the third movie is like trying to find the 7th one. I mean, they could simplify it. It could just be the Master Emerald, but Chaos Emeralds are a core component of the Sonic mythology, just like rings are, and they used rings to very good effect in the first film, and I feel like they would want to do the same thing with Chaos Emeralds. And I mean, I don't know if this would happen, but let's say hypothetically, here's the second movie. It comes out as 2022. I guess the third one's going to come out 24, 25. Then suddenly Paramount says, hey, yeah, I know there's a Sonic show, but now we've got a cartoon where Sonic and Tails are running around looking for other emeralds, and that's technically what takes place between 2 and 3. That would be smart, but they probably won't do it because Sonic Prime exists. But they could still have that gap where things happen between 2 and 3, and they're looking for emeralds if they want to go that route.
I have a feeling that emeralds will be introduced at the end of the second Sonic film, and they won't become like a key component until the third film. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like at the end of the credits, like maybe that's when we have like our little end of credit crawl, stinger, whatever you call that sort of thing. Robotnik's like, oh, what's this shiny thing? And then it's like, oh, the fans know what it is. And the third film, then we get to see the emeralds.
Right. So yeah, it could be a thing where he already has 5 or 6 when the third movie starts, and he's like, ha ha ha.
Yeah.
And everyone goes, why is Eggman suddenly so powerful? Like, this seems even stronger than the quills he stole from your back, Sonic. And Sonic scratches his temple, and Tom is like, I'm just a cop. I don't understand any of this. Why am I still here? Exactly in that delivery,
I'm wondering if it's gonna end up being like like they did with the first movie, like if the end of Sonic 2, if the end of the movie is gonna be like just like it's gonna have like an ending and then the post-credit scene is like the tease for the next movie, or if it's gonna be like a direct, like it's gonna have like the actual ending is a cliffhanger and it's like, oh, it needs a third movie to resolve everything. Because I think overall it might be better if they just stick with like have the post-credit scene to stick with it rather than making this kind of like a half a so it doesn't feel like half a movie, because I know a lot of movies and a lot of sequels kind of end up doing that, is that it ends up making feel like it's just the first half, and depending on if something goes right or goes wrong, that other half never ends up coming out. So I'm hoping they at least just like make this like a full story, like, oh, that doesn't need a third one but would benefit from a third one.
Yeah, I guess if it just feels like chapters in a story, like where when you have 1, 2, and 3 all together, it's like, well, this together it all feels like one full story, but by themselves you're still fine with them. Like, I think that's the ultimate goal. Kind of like a Star Wars, because you got Episode 4, the original Star Wars. It's A New Hope. It's got a beginning, a middle, and an end, but it's also technically the first act of that trilogy. And you got Empire. That's a full story, even though there's a cliffhanger at the end. What's going on with Han Solo? I don't know. Oh man, Darth Vader.
Okay, so is there anything else? Because I think we kind of exhausted
David,
mostly everything.
David, what are your all of your predictions? Like, what do you think? All the things that you think will happen in the second Sonic movie.
Okay. I mean, we're definitely going to get some interesting interactions with Sonic and Tails. We're definitely going to have Sonic confused as to where he belongs in the universe. I know we're going to get that sort of stuff. I really, like I was talking about with the Knuckles bits, there's going to be conflict between Sonic and Knuckles. You can't avoid it. There's definitely going to be new robots. I don't know if any. I'm sure there's going to be badniks that Robotnik makes that are called, like, that's the Buzz Bomber and that's the Motobug, even if they don't look at all like what a Buzz Bomber or a Motobug is. Like, we're going to lean further into the madness of Dr. Eggman.
Yeah, lean further into the madness. I was going to say the same thing.
Yes, because you're getting the hints of it at the end of the first one, and
Yep.
it's like I want to see full on madness. I would be okay if like over the course of 3 movies, he just gets fatter and fatter until
Me too.
at the end of the third, like he's just full on round, and it's just like he's also able to roll, and Sonic is just crossing his arms like that's not how you roll, and he's like, yes, it is, of course it is. This is how you roll. That's what I'm hoping for in the third one, but that's getting ahead of ourselves. But yeah, I think for the most part it's going to feel self-contained, but there's going to be a bit more of cliffhangery stuff at the end, setting up
Yes.
like, oh, this is definitely going to be a trilogy as well. So,
Do you have any maybes?
any what?
Any maybes? Things that you think will happen, but you're not betting on?
That's a good. I mean, they played the Emerald Hill theme. There's a part of me that's like, oh, what if we do go to West Side Island, or we see something from Sonic 2? But I don't know
I don't know.
how much of that. It's possible we'll get like, oh yeah, this is Chemical Plant, but it's not going to look right. Of all the Sonic 2 zones, that might be the one that they have. A further shot would be like Metropolis Zone, like Robotnik built Metropolis Zone, and that's where we're going at the end of the movie. But I don't know. I guess maybe I have a bit of a hard time visualizing them, like Robotnik creating a full-on base in this movie. Like maybe in the third one, but here it feels more like he's still kind of on the outskirts. He's still, he's putting things, he's cobbling things together. He's not yet at pinnacle Eggman, but he's getting there. And so by the time we get to the third one, that's when we'll see a Metropolis Zone or a Scrap Brain Zone or something that's like the egg carrier. I don't know if they'll go with the Death Egg because that might feel a bit too close, because it's cinema, the Death Star Death Egg. It works in the games, but it might be a bit too much for a movie.
Yeah.
If they want to populate, maybe we'll get a hint of something like Amy, but I feel like that's a bit of a stretch for this one.
I don't think it's that big of a stretch because I was about to say it's 2020, but no, it's not. It's 2021, and then by then it'll be 2022. You gotta have some girl characters in there.
That's true.
And
you have
who better than Amy?
The wife is called Maddie, right? I feel like I said it.
Yeah, I think it's Maddie.
Yeah, okay. So, right. I mean, you do have Maddie. You would have Longclaw if she's alive, but yeah, I mean, I guess it would make sense to have more female characters because it's not all dudes running around.
Yeah.
Even in the Sonic universe, you have. Well, I guess Amy is probably a safer bet than Rouge for the second movie.
I think so.
But I wouldn't mind if Rouge the Bat shows up in the third one.
I bet you wouldn't mind.
Rouge is a very we don't think she's obscure, but like in the context of
she was in Sonic Adventure 2. That was
in the context, for us, but you have to remember, like, in the context of the general public, like, a bat, like, there are going to be a lot of people who say they're fans of Sonic, and then they find out that, oh, one of the characters is a sexy bat with big boobs, and they're going to be like, what? I don't like you, David. You don't think that, but there are going to be a lot of people who are going to be, what the fuck? When they see that, and
she's not going to look like the bat that Tyson Hesse drew in his Joe comic years and years ago. Rouge is gonna look.
Whoa, David, I haven't seen that.
What?
I need you to provide a link. I haven't seen that.
Oh, like from way back in the day before he ever worked on Sonic professionally.
Is that the same one from Nipples the enchilada?
Nipples the enchilada and Arms the fox and all of the goofy things. But no, I mean, because
it's obviously not going to look. Yeah, it's obviously not going to look. Yeah.
No, but I mean, I know there are definitely characters that the general public isn't aware of, but I think Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic X were big enough that those characters are not going to feel out of place to people who grew up with Sonic, and also who grew up with Sonic in a tangential way. Like, they weren't obsessed with Sonic, but they watched Saturday morning cartoons. Rouge is definitely there. The Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2, era and the things that were built off of that are a bit more well known than something like Mighty and Ray or like the plot of '06 or like that stuff is more obscure. The things in Sonic Adventure 2 I think are a bit more known than you're giving it credit for.
We talk a lot about the Echidna tribe. Do you think they might retcon Tikal?
I don't even know if Tikal will be in it. Like it's very possible, but it's like if she's in it, she'll just be a female Echidna. I don't think it's like her role in SA1. It's not
in the background.
I don't think it's gonna be. Yeah, it's not gonna be like her connection with Chaos and like her fusing with the Master Emerald. Yeah,
none of that. I said retcon.
Right. I think
retcon. Yeah.
I think they would use her. I think that they could still have her be the daughter of the chief, but she'll be alive. And maybe it'll be a thing where Knuckles and Tikal meet, and then Knuckles is like, he's finally met someone of his own kind, and he's like happy about that fact. And then in the third movie, she has to sacrifice herself for the greater good.
Oh, damn.
And then he gets to be sad again. Woo! But he's sad in a different way, so him and Sonic are able to bond.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of things you can do if you're adapting. Because
oh boy,
yeah, it's all out there. You could do a million things. It depends how deep they want to dive.
You can do a million things, but will they do all a million things, or will they do the one thing?
I mean, I think part of it depends. I mean, the people working on it seem to have more than a basic idea of what Sonic is. I think a lot of things is really dependent on how much the studio is willing to let them go, how far they were willing to let the team go. And if the studio is happy with the money they made and is happy with the direction, especially if the sequel does as well, I could see the third one even bringing in more and more thing. Because I think one of the biggest lessons that I'm always like, Hollywood needs to learn this is the way that the Marvel movies were done, because the Marvel movies are all about, respecting the source material, even if they have to change a lot of the details, WandaVision is airing right now. I'm not going to spoil any of that, but just the idea of the origin of Vision, which was in Age of Ultron, is different than it was in the comics, and the fact he has the Mind Stone embedded in his forehead, and that's how he came to life. Like, that's not how the comics did it. And there's lots of things you'd be like, oh, that's not accurate 100%, but it's keeping the tone, and it's keeping the core elements of what the characters in the universe is. And if they apply that same thing to Sonic, which now that they've gotten the buddy comedy out of the way, they can do, like, that will make for a stronger movie.
Yeah.
Because Sonic is popular. Sonic the Hedgehog became popular, and it became popular because of the world that Sonic Team built and the way it was marketed. But like, if Sonic 1 didn't look the way it looked and didn't play the way it looked, Sonic wouldn't have worked. Sonic wouldn't have become successful. And so the world that Sonic Team built with the original games and with Adventure, like, you want to dive into that source material and use it to the best of your ability. If they are able to do that and dive in deeper with the second movie, that will make everything else stronger. Then a third one will be an inevitability. And then, of course, we'll get the fourth one, which will just be called Sonic, because you can't call anything, you can't put a number 4 at the end of any movies anymore.
It'd be Sonic and Knuckles. It'd be Sonic and Knuckles.
I mean, that doesn't seem... if they did that, I would hope that somehow they would introduce lock-on technology, so that if I take my copy of Sonic 3 and attach it to my copy of Sonic and Knuckles, it will
they already have lock-on technology, because Knuckles is in Sonic 2.
That's right. Oh, man.
Do you get it?
I do get it. I like it. So it's good. I mean, if they do call the third one Sonic 3 and Knuckles, that will be a laugh, but...
Oh, it'd be a lark.
Oh, I'd be skipping about. I'd be like, ha, they're doing it. They're doing it all.
Sonic the Hedgehog and the Wasp.
Oh, I also wanted to say I really hope they use more game music in the sequel, because we only got a hint of it with the Green Hill Zone theme, right? Which was like da da da, and also the Mania, the theme from What's Their Face? Why is their name escaping? Hyper Potions. Yes.
Friends.
So we had 2 songs, one from Mania, which was probably very cheap to get, and then the piano Green Hill from the guy who
by Mr. Junkie XL.
No, it's not Junkie XL. He didn't do the. I'm talking about the piano bit. You know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the piano bit was him.
No,
yeah,
it wasn't. It's the band guy from the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon.
Yes, the guy. Yep. No, not Jimmy Fallon. It was
Is it not
the
Jimmy
one that
Fallon? Is it
Stephen? No, the one that Stephen Colbert.
Right.
Yeah, that one. You know, there was an episode of Stephen Colbert where they opened with him, I think, doing Green Hill with some Sonic song.
That's right. They've also played another Sonic song.
I don't think that they had permission to do that, but they did it anyway. It's a live show. Who's going to stop them?
Is that what they're called? Oh, Stay Human.
Yeah.
There you go. But yeah, so like you have. Yeah, I don't know why I thought. Look, it all mixed together. I haven't watched, but those were the only two pieces. Oh, John Baptiste, of course, that's his name.
Right.
I know
that was the name.
Yes.
Yeah, John Baptiste.
I know they've played more than the Green Hill on Stephen Colbert. I forget what the other songs they've done, but like those were the only two pieces of game music in the first movie. I want more because one of the best things about Sonic as a whole is the music. Yeah. I'm not demanding that Crush 40 do the theme song. I'm not saying why don't you do a cover of the Sad AM theme, though that would be amusing. But I know they'd have to pay Nakamura from Dreams Come True to use any of those songs, but pay Nakamura to use those songs because the movie made money.
Yeah, you have Paramount money. Do it.
Well, they already did it for 5 seconds of Emerald Hill. So I feel like that might be like an indication of we're gonna get more like game remixes, because I mean, like, yeah, if they paid them for that 5-second bit of Emerald Hill, so it's like, oh, there's probably going to be more. There's probably not just more of that, like that full version of Emerald Hill in the movie, but maybe a couple more iterations. But yeah, like I don't need like them to just play like the act. I'm hoping it's not just like, oh, like they did with the Hyper Potion song, is they just stitched it, like they just stitched the original
it's
version.
It's just the original song.
I hope it's like iterate. Like I really like that piano version of the Green Hill themes. Like I hope they do more the techno-ish Emerald Hill. It's like I hope there's more like covers and remixes.
Right. Well, I mean, wasn't there a Green Hill remix for the trailers that they didn't use in the movie? So like there's precedence for that. Where like, oh, we'll have a song in the trailer, but it won't necessarily be in the movie. But there could be other versions because, Emerald Hills is a good theme. I mean, all the music in Sonic 2 and Sonic 1 are good. And there's also plenty of songs that Sega just has the rights to that they could get access to. Things from Adventure, things from Sonic 3, not Ice Cap. But, there's plenty of songs that they could use if they're willing to spend the money on the soundtrack. And the second go-round, I would hope they're a bit more open to spending that money to put those songs in there. Junkie XL is fine, but it's a Sonic movie. I want Sonic music. That helps link everything together.
Yes.
Yes.
Stefan, what are your this is absolutely going to happen in the film predictions?
Okay. Yeah, my safe predictions is so Tails is gonna go see Sonic and is be like, we gotta go either like back to this world or go to the other world because of something.
Because we need your help.
Tom and Maddie are probably gonna follow them along. They're gonna go.
Yeah.
They're gonna go like dimension hopping or like
by mistake though, and they're gonna be like, "Whoa, what are you doing here?"
Yeah, and they're gonna find Eggman is gonna be doing something. Maybe he makes Metal Sonic, or he makes some kind of like device that allows him to travel between dimensions, and they end up like meeting each other and fighting. Maybe at some point, the Echidnas are tracking down Sonic for their own game. Like it feels like it might end up being some kind of a race of the Echidna tribe, Eggman, Sonic and Tails and their groups. Like they're all racing for something. That feels like if I had to give like a prediction of what the plot is going to be, I think that's what it might be.
Yeah.
Do you think?
Go on.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, do you think Tom will try to eat any of the mushrooms in the mushroom?
Maybe.
Okay. Continue.
Only if he's like, oh, I'm really hungry.
I don't know if I want Agent Stone to come back. I don't know why. I hope he's back.
Why?
Just because I love how energetic that actor is on Twitter and how he talks about everything. I'm like, I want him to be happy. I want him to come back and be in it.
Oh, I like that. He should come back, but as a part of Gunn, GUN.
Right. That's the division he starts. That could work.
Oh shit. No, GUN's been around for 50 years.
Oh right, I forgot.
How much fatter do you think Jim Carrey's gonna get? You think that's about as fat?
Fat suit.
Yeah, but so do you, like, I mean, even fat suit or not, like, do you think like how he is at the end of the movie is probably how he's gonna be, or do you think he's gonna get like he's gonna look a bit fatter? I think they're probably gonna like just be it safe and just be like, oh, that how he looks at the end is how he's gonna look in the next movie, and maybe there's the potential that they could give him a fat suit, but I'm like, I think they might just keep it safe and just have him be slightly overweight.
I think he'll at least be Sonic 06 sized.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah.
I do love his Eggman voice in that last scene. I do think is legitimately great. So I'm really happy. Gonna eventually hear more of that.
Yeah. Just hope he stops yelling reconnaissance.
That's his only line through the entire 2-hour film.
Oh no.
Sonic's like, what? Why aren't you saying anything else? He's like, nah, all I can think about
Come
are
on,
rocks.
that's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Right, he just waits until someone laughs, and then he finally says something different. That's his arc in the movie.
What was Sonic's arc, technically? Like, he kind of had one.
Yeah.
What was it? What did he start as and go into?
It was more so about like
Trusting people?
accepting himself and like not be like being allowing himself to be open and like being like, oh, you don't have to be alone, and finding family, really. That's what the movie's about.
So
finding a family.
What would Sonic's arc be in the second film? What can he learn?
Well,
Maybe he has to learn to slow down.
I mean, that could be it. I mean, especially if it's like Tails is there to find Sonic, and Sonic is constantly running away from Tails for some reason. And, then he has to learn that, he... Maybe because if the first movie is about, finding acceptance where you are, the second one could be, reconciling and accepting where you came from.
Oh.
And
yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Especially if it does end up being with Sonic trying to be like, oh, do I go back to my original home planet on South Island or whatever, or do I stay here with my new family? It's like,
right.
Shit.
Probably that going to be like that like struggle.
That's very possible.
And then maybe it could be him like, oh, I don't have to define myself from where I am or where I've been. Like, I am who I am. These experiences add to me, but I am Sonic the Hedgehog. And then he winks at the camera.
Title crawl.
Yes, it's good. It can really work. It's good.
All right. And Stefan, what are you?
Yeah, I think that's everything. I think that's pretty much everything.
Well, what are your this will probably happen, but you're not sure.
Yeah, but probably is Knuckles show. Like I'm still not 100% sure, but I'm probably said like that Knuckles might be in it. Like that's my like Knuckles and something Metal Sonic-esque are my probably, but I'm not 100% sure yet.
Well,
so
none of us are.
I'm not going to definitively say it yet.
Well, we know Robotnik's stuck on Mushroom Planet, and so there has to be a way for him to get off, to get away from Mushroom Planet. So there has to be some way of him inventing something to because he's like when we see him, he's rummaging around for spare parts from his broken Egomatic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's trying to build his way off of that thing, off of that planet. So
Sonic does mention that like the rings are like a universal like
that's true.
People
he does.
People around the universe use the rings
all
to travel around.
advanced societies.
So it's like there is a very like clear potential that Eggman stumbles upon rings somehow somewhere, and that's how he uses the travel around.
That'd be lame, but yeah, he could.
Yeah.
Maybe he invents a dark ring. Haha. Ho ho. Chaotix.
That's a deep cut reference.
But would they go with a deep cut reference like that? Probably not.
I think somebody on our Discord mentioned this, and I feel like it's almost certainly that there's going to be some gag in the movie making fun of Sonic's old design.
Would there? I don't know.
Like, because in the first movie had that Sonic joke, so it's like I wouldn't be surprised if there's like something of like somebody draws a picture of Sonic and it's original movie Sonic.
And then Sonic's like, "Whoa, you think I look like that?" What?
I almost feel like we would be more likely to see Ugandan Knuckles than we would original
God.
Sonic. Like if we're talking about memes.
Yeah, and it's the same old man who drew Sonic.
So I've seen this guy too, and they're like, "Look, we believed you the first time. That's it. You got one." He's like, "No, but seriously." It's like, no. That it was a hedgehog. There's only hedgehogs. No.
So the difference is Ugandan Knuckles is a very old meme / kind of racist, while the old movie Sonic is still very relevant, considering, I mean, it is the second Sonic movie, so it's like that's why it feels like a very easy gag that even Tyson would probably. That feels like a gag that even Tyson would be like, yeah, let's do that.
Oh well, you know what would be neat, but if Knuckles is in the movie, you know they've already established, I saw a tweet recently which is like, oh yeah, you know, Knuckles dreams and thinks in doodles, and it's like, oh yeah, you know, it was in Mania, it was in the Sonic Mega, or whatever the Mega Drive comic was, what if there is an animated sequence that is just straight up, you know, Knuckles is telling a story and it is like either like the Tyson Hesse doodle or even maybe a minute or two of actual like Tyson Hesse styled animation. Could we see something like that slipped in there? A little 2D bit?
In the credits, probably.
Oh yeah, I mean the credits is probably a good bet if you want to do that.
Yeah, I can definitely see Tyson being like, yeah, Tyson especially being the one to kind of push Knuckles' crayons, considering he is the inventor of that. So
right, and so because they slipped it into Mania, so it became canon, and if Tyson's, you know, if he's still on board with the movie, which clearly he is, like you could have those little things slipped in, even if it's like a very brief. Like a little animated sequence that's for fun. You know, sometimes they shove things in there and it's like, oh yeah, we're having a good time. It could happen. That would be probably a super long shot because then you have to jump through hoops. But I mean, you know, Tyson's an animator too. I don't want to get. See, I'm like, oh man, that would be neat, but that might be a thing where they go, no, we just can't. But it would be neat, right? Sonic.
Yes.
Is that it now?
I don't know.
Anything else?
Well, how long was the Sonic Prime discussion? Can we beat it?
I think we beat it. I mean, either we beat it or it's the same amount right now. Just went over an hour, so yeah, we're at the Sonic Prime level.
This is good. I feel like
nice.
The next time they make a very vague announcement, which isn't an 11-second video, but maybe just a line of, "Whoa, new Sonic." Toiletry set, and we're like, okay, we got to talk about the ramifications of this toiletry set. We can beat the record.
The official Sonic Twitter just posts an image of toast where it's burnt in the image of Sonic, and then we talk 3 hours about that.
Oh man, yeah. That's right. I do have that toaster. I've never used it.
Oh wait, I forgot. That was not intentional. I forgot all about that.
I forgot about the toaster.
There was also a novel in the UK where Sonic actually becomes a toaster.
Jesus.
It's good. Sonic the Hedgehog in Dr. Robotnik's lab, I think, or something like that. It's a good book. You should read it.
Is that
you know what they say?
The title?
All toasters toast.
No, he gets transmogrified into a toaster, and then like this monkey makes waffles using the toaster, and Tails becomes very upset because he's like, oh, you're using my best friend and the hero of Mobius as an actual toaster. And he's like, well, I mean, what would you want me to do? He's a toaster. Let's do this. You know, it's a very good book. You should read it now.
Right now.
Yes. Open it up. We'll go to chapter 3, class.
Now I just want to do a post that just says out of context Sonic Movie 2 spoilers, and it's just the cover of that book.
Oh, it's a good book. You can if you look hard enough, There's a website, someone digitally preserved them, but I don't know how the copyright works on that because they were novels published in the UK in 1993.
Yeah. Everything ever has been preserved.
Yeah, it has been preserved. Well, because I've been looking for a while for a digital. I have the physical versions, but I was like, having a digital version to reference would be nice because then you can, do keyword searches and things like that. It's all part of the, the greater tapestry of Sonic the Hedgehog, which of course it should be part of Sonic Prime as well. Oh wait, that was last discussion.
You're getting our wires crashed.
Look, because Sonic is Sonic. It's all Sonic. I don't know. I'm excited to see the sequel. Hopefully, it will be even better than the first. And I definitely want to see Perfect Chaos in the third. Come on, how hard could it be? Have him destroy San Francisco. It's a kids' movie.
Well, is that it? Is that everything?
Thank you, everyone, for staying this long. You heard it here first. All the things we talked about are going to happen in the film. So
it's true.
Sorry for spoiling the movie for you. And we'll see you for the next discussion, where someone releases a trivial amount of information and we extrapolate upon it and get nowhere.
Whoa! That was a discussion! Man, I bet you want to hear more of those. That's why you should like, comment, and subscribe. Otherwise, you'll miss the next one, which will be even longer, I swear.